All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully you're all in the right place. See the title. We're excited to talk to you guys about kind of the things we've been up to really over the last year to 2 years in these areas. And we're a nice sized group here where we can do some Q&A. If you want a little bit while we're going, we have a little time at the end, but we also have a lot of content. So I am going to move us through. But the folks in the back reminded me that if you do have a question, come up to the mic or raise your hand. Bring your mic so that we can get it recorded. So whoever's listening to this, all the millions of people that will be listening to this in 6 months know what the question was, what the answer. So go ahead. So I'm Carmen, and this is Asaf. And we've been working together since I've been at InterSystems, so 3 years, and Asaf has taught me everything I know. So we'll see how we do. No, but I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to hearing from you about what you're using now. So, and that's actually what we want to start with. So, is there anybody who does not have the conference app? And we'll figure out if we need to do an analog version of this poll. Otherwise, we're going to try using the poll that's in the app. And is there anybody, actually raise your hand if you do not have the app so I can get a sense of whether we need to do this. Oh, Javier. Okay, a few people don't. All right. We could do this. We thought it'd be fun to get get you guys engaged with this, but we can do this by hands too if you want. So let me go forward. So this is how you do the poll, just in case you're curious. But let's go ahead and I'm gonna. Whoops! Did I skip by the poll? Oh, there it is. Yeah.
So I see a few people are.
Are you trying to do
using the poll? So.
Oh, good. Okay.
Some data coming in.
Do you have some data coming in? Okay. Well, this is exciting. Yeah. We wanted to get a sense kind of what products people are using already so we know kind of who's in the room, what you're using. We anticipate that a lot of you use multiple of these tools. So that's one thing we wanted to get kind of a sense of. So look forward to seeing that.
So Carmen, we have some bad news.
What's that?
So we have a heterogeneous audience of people from prospects to experts. So, but there is some good news for you guys because we're going to cover the ground for experts, but also people who've never used it before and interested to hear what we've done in the last couple of years. So
yeah, that's right.
That's good.
Good. Okay. All right. Everybody done with the poll? Who wanted to do it? Okay. All right, we will continue on then. So over the last several years, our product has grown in terms of what options we provide for analytics and reporting. And so one of the reasons we wanted to do this session was to kind of give you a sense of what we have for solutions, as well as a little bit about where we're going. So these are the topics that we're going to cover today in this session. But before I do that, I wanted to talk a little bit about what we have in the portfolio. And I think the advantage that you have with InterSystems Iris is that you're running this very close to the data. So that's an advantage that you have in general. You're not moving the data somewhere else to do the analytics on it usually, which means that you're not duplicating it, you're not opening it up in terms of security concerns, you're not doing those kinds of things. And I know some of you do some of that, but let me just talk about the kind of the 4 areas. We're going to focus in this session on the top 2, InterSystems Iris BI, which you may know as DeepSea. So I'm going to use the Iris BI name, but when you hear that, if you're a DeepSea user, just replace it. Because in Iris, it is called Iris BI. And we're going to talk about reports. But let me just kind of walk through these 4 areas that we have to give you from a use case standpoint so you have a sense of kind of when you would use these. And like I said, we anticipate that there's going to be lots of cases, maybe most cases, where you're going to be using more than one of these mechanisms. So with Iris BI, that's a great solution for people who want to develop a solution that has embedded dashboards or embedded components that give you information about your data. So that's our embedded solution that we provide and have provided for a very long time. With InterSystems Reports, that's a great solution if you need to distribute, particularly if you need to schedule reporting to go out every hour, every day, every week, every month. So you kind of schedule it through the InterSystems Reports capability, as well as a lot of different ways to do formatting. So this would be, if you have a monthly billing report, right, that needs to get distributed to a lot of people with different data in each one, that's a great solution for that. With adaptive analytics, which you saw in the earlier session today, that's really targeted for people who have groups of experts who understand how to work in Power BI or Tableau or Excel within the organization, and they need a common way to look at the data. So that idea of a semantic layer where you're creating kind of a model that can get published to those third-party tools. So maybe you've got marketing campaigns that are being analyzed by finance for effectiveness in one direction, and by marketing for effectiveness in another direction, you have a kind of a shared set of metrics that those teams can look at, and you waste less time arguing about sort of who wrote the right calculation, right? And then finally, ODBC and JDBC access, which has been there forever, right? But is, particularly when you need kind of programmatic access directly to the data, that's when you would be using that. And like I said, our assumption is that most people are doing some combination of these things, as well as maybe using the third-party tools through ODBC and JDBC. So, yeah, we can. We need you to have the mic, though. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's Iris BI. So good question. The question was in Track Care, which of these four, right? And it's Iris BI in Track Care. Yep. Track Care also uses InterSystems Reports too, in an embedded way. So if you're familiar with the way they do reports there. Yeah. So we're going to start by talking about what we've been up to, and we're taking kind of a lens of about the last roughly 2 years or so since our last Global Summit. So we're going to talk about some of the changes. We have some demos there as well. And so Asaf and I are going to kind of go back and forth with this, make it a little conversational. And so he's going to take actually this first slide and talk a little bit about the Iris BI engine.
All right. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm going to move this here so you have the right notes. All right. So I have some very impressive numbers to share with you. And well, we have our lead developer of Iris BI here in the room, Dan Bissix. So thank you for all your work. And the focus has been for many years in performance in the engine itself. So in terms of performance, you have to remember that Iris BI is based on Iris, not on Cache and Ensemble. So as you probably saw this morning, the performance improvement was significant just in Iris itself. And if you add to that some of the improvement that Iris BI added to that, this is a few benchmarks on some of our internal systems. Building cubes is faster, up to 8 times faster. Synchronizing cube is faster, which is our way to keep the cubes up to date with new data that comes in. So you don't need to rebuild the whole thing and have downtime, which is now in parallel, so you can actually have multiple agents doing it at the same time. Runtime is faster, and we have some crazy number here, and we had about 10 different types of queries that were benchmarked, and we saw between 5% to 1,000% faster, depending on the type of query. So if you happen to have Iris BI right now in testing or production, I welcome you to test it and see kind of like a scratch ticket, like how much did I get faster than before. Another focus was around reliability and stability of the product and security. So some of you have heard about that before. Iris has a work queue manager that it's kind of a central component that lets you schedule different type of jobs in parallel. So Iris BI is using it for a couple of years, and what it gives Iris BI users is additional flexibility in managing your resources on the server. So you can say, I would like to synchronize cubes with that amount of agents. I would like to build my cubes with that amount, and I want to runtime. I would like, to give the most resources, for example, or the opposite, depending on the use cases you have in the field. And in terms of security, Iris is investing a lot in security. And for Iris BI, I had to adapt and keep up to date. So a lot of work there to make sure it's very secure. In terms of real-time updates, I think this is one of the differentiator for Iris BI with many other technologies. It actually lets you, with a fairly small footprint, keep your cubes up to date and have no downtime when you're trying to bring new data into your cubes. So what I wanted to highlight is the DS time. How many of you know DS time? OBJ DS time? Yeah, at least 2 people. That's good. So it has a new condition basically. So what it allows you to do, if you have, let's say, 100 sites and 80 of them purchased your analytics solution, 20 of them didn't. What you did before that, all 100 sites would need to keep that global, that keeps track of what's new, even if they didn't use analytics, and that's somewhat wasteful. It's compute, it's storage, and things like that. So this will allow you to adjust it in the sense that only people that need it will keep track of that, and basically take advantage of it. A little bit of so the top chart is about query runtime. And you can see kind of the X time, how much time faster. So you can see that the bottom query was 11 times faster, and the top one was 9%, 21%. So it depends what conditions and what optimizations we were able to do. And for build time, it was pretty significant. You can actually see that. You can see here, basically, this is in cache and ensemble in seconds, and you can see this is the different types of cubes, and you can see that some cubes saw a really dramatic improvement in performance. A little bit about REST APIs. I know some of you in the room are basically implementing some UI using Angular or REST. So we added kind of the middle chunk. This is you can see the command ones. So additional ways to control your cubes, to schedule, to register them to the cube manager, and basically controlling the system from a REST application. And let's move to modeling.
All right. I'm going to use this as my...
Stay there? Or?
What's that?
Okay.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Actually, maybe I should. Then I could just use this. Good idea. Yep. All right. So I'll stay over here.
It was a long day for you.
It was a long day. Yeah. It's time to sit down, I guess. Yeah. So Iris BI modeling is what you may be familiar with as the architect, if you're familiar with that. And actually, by show of hands, how many people are current DeepSea or Iris BI users in the room? Okay, so we've got a few, yeah. So then I'll go through this with kind of what we've done, and I think the thing we want you to remember out of this is that we're investing in a lot of ways in Iris BI in the kind of the core engine, in making things faster, and in the sort of the architect and analyzer portions of it. That's where we've spent the most time over the last year and a half or so. In addition to that, though, we do have the learning team at InterSystems has created a new learning path for architect. So if that's something you haven't seen and either you have somebody getting started or you want a refresher, that's worth going through. Cache and Ensemble, we when you migrate, there are a few things that we recognize. So we recognize that the cube is from Cache and Ensemble, and when we move forward, take advantage of some of the new capabilities in Iris, and that's done automatically. The third item there is selective cube build, and we rolled that out about 1.5 years ago. And the use case there is somebody has a ginormous cube, technical term, and to build it actually takes a pretty significant amount of time. So when somebody wants them to make a change to that cube, to add a measure, to add a dimension, they were limited in that because they couldn't keep it active for their remaining users to use while they were doing that. So they had to find some sort of offline time to do that. So we worked with one of our customers who had one of those ginormous cubes, and basically this is what he said after that. And I'm going to show you a little demo of that so you can get a sense for what that is. The basic idea is that we're rebuilding just the part of the cube that's changed, so just the added measure, and keeping the rest of the cube available so that everybody else can use it. When we did that, we added some safeguards around the cube build to help protect people in the UI when they were doing that. So when you're modeling, there's a lot going on. So we added some additional safeguards for that. So here's where I'm going to go through the demo, and it's a recording here. So you can see up at the top, there's the build and the compile. The build is grayed out. This is the safeguard piece until you compile, because it's supposed to compile. So they're compiled. Then we're going to go ahead and build, and hopefully you can see there's two options there. One is selective build, one's full build. Now it didn't detect that there were any changes, so it went ahead and did the full build because that was really the only option. So now what I'm doing is I'm adding another measure. I'm going to add, I think, an average here, just to add another measure to the cube. So this might be something that somebody would be doing if they have a new use case. They want to add an additional measure, and then when I go, it also grayed it out again. And then when I go back and compile, now when I go to the build, watch what you see there. It's going to automatically select selective build. It's going to click on that measure and just build that, so that it's detecting what's changed in the user interface and kind of helping you, giving you a hint. Obviously, you can overwrite it if you want, but it kind of gives you that help. Now, this was really fast because it's a very small cube, but if you're working with very large amounts of data, large cubes, that could take a lot longer. So having that cube available to everybody else while that's going on was something that was very important to some of our users. So that's a new thing that we added in Analyzer. In Architect. But now Analyzer.
I just wanted to add that
yeah.
You can, in the Cvent app, you can download the presentation, and we added some links. So if you want to, we're going to have several links to some resources for you, so you'll be able to access those.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, so same thing like for Architect, we have a learning path for Analyzer as well. So if you haven't been there in a while, it's worth going back to learning.intersystems.com and taking a look at that, give you a starting point. And the other things, within Analyzer are also, a lot of those things are around performance as well, and responsiveness and those kinds of things. So the SQL restrict allows you to filter a dimension. And that's really all around trying to bring back less data, so to make it more performant. And that's within the MDX statement. A couple of other things that we did there, which I'll show you some examples of, are the pivot preview mode, which again, it's very easy with Analyzer. You're dragging and dropping measures and dimensions into the canvas and taking a look at things. Very easy to accidentally bring back way too much data. So that's what that's about. And then direct export to CSV files. And actually, I listed something here that just became available recently. When we export the pivot table to Excel, we don't re-execute that query. So that's something that's in the latest release. So it's, again, making this more responsive, more performant. Just a real quick picture of what preview mode looks like. So this is a cross join, so that can end up being lots and lots of cells, lots of rows. And what this did, and at the bottom of that, I don't know if you can read it from where you are, it says 1 of 20 plus, right? So there's a lot more pages of this. So instead of actually bringing back all that data, it's bringing back just a sample of it so you can get a sense for what it looks like. And then you can decide on the bottom, you can show all if you really did want to see it all, or you can page through. So it just gives you the opportunity to kind of have that be a little more performant for you. The export to CSV, we had, people wanted to do things like export cohorts of patients, for example. So, this is the ability to just automatically go to a CSV with or without headers. If you're exporting a cohort for taking that into something else, you're probably doing it without headers. Otherwise, you might want to put the filters and that sort of stuff on that with headers. So those are a few of the things that we've done with Architect and Analyzer over the last year and a half plus. And let's talk now about Cube Manager and administration.
All right. So Cube Manager is a one-stop shop for you guys. It's a drag-and-drop UI that allows you to schedule all the maintenance of your cubes. How often do you want them to be built? How often do you want them to be synchronized? And a few additional things that you can see visually. It also prevents you, and this is under behind the scenes, it prevents you from building it in the wrong order. This is if you have cube relationships. If you're using HealthShare, for example, there's a lot of that. And it basically prevents you from I'm going to say integrity check just for the band, but just not to have any integrity issue with your data. It also allows you, there is a class behind it, so you can hook it to source control, and then you can save versions of that, or you can have different kind of schedules for small sites versus medium or large. So it's pretty flexible. In terms of what's new, there are a few auditing performance stats that you can capture now. There is a lot of auditing happening behind the scenes. You can query that. I'm going to show a little cute application in the next slide to help you visualize kind of how fast your cubes are building. This is how we saw the improvement, for example, in build times. In terms of stability, continuing to listen to customers and see if we have any issues responding to those. And then the additional REST APIs, I think I showed it a few slides ago. And OpenExchange, how many of you knew about that, heard about it? Okay, so I will not ask how many of you actually downloaded and installed. So there are currently over 600. This is the app store for InterSystems, and it has a variety of different applications that you can use today. And this is if you kind of filter by analytics, you're gonna see about 47 analytics related applications, and I just want to highlight a few of them today. I will not, and feel free to stop by the Tech Exchange. I can either if you're interested in one of them or to hear more about it, I'll be happy to share it with you. And I'm ready. Oh, look at that. Okay, so this is the OpenExchange, and I'm gonna highlight a few. So Analyze This was a project that my team started a few years ago, but every application you're gonna see in the OpenExchange, almost every application gonna have a download and a discuss kind of button. The download should bring you to the GitHub repo that hosts the code for that application, and the discuss will, if I click the right thing, takes you to a developer community article that show you a more practical thing, how it looks, how to install it maybe, and things like that. Analyze This helps you get from a CSV file, from a query, from a table that you already have in Iris, to basically create a new class for you to hold it, creates a cube automatically on top of it, and actually analyze the data a little bit and create a dashboard for you, which is a great starting point just to visualize your data. If you're new to Iris BI, you can just use it to take a look at your data, maybe give it a kind of a simple query and start working with it. So it's much better than, so this is a few how it looks, and this is kind of the dashboard it did automatically. Another one is Pivot subscription, and actually a customer stopped by and talked to me. They wanted to schedule a report and send it to a few providers based on different filters. So I showed them Pivot subscription. He was pretty excited about it. So it allows you pivots that you already have. If you're using Iris BI, you can actually schedule it and customize it to be sent on a schedule. And Cube Event Monitor, this is if you're using the Cube Manager, this is a few kind of out of the box. If you install it, you're going to see some trends in the size of your cube or the time, or if you have errors or things like that. So it's utilizing data you already have in Iris BI and then just show you a sample of how to actually use it. The last one has to do with visualization. Was a project to leverage the dashboard facility we already have in DeepSea and Iris BI, and then use a third-party charting tool to hook it to the framework. So you're not starting from scratch. You actually, and in this it's called third-party chart portlets. And once you install it, you have the ability to use different charting tools.
Thanks, Asaf. So a lot of interesting things in that in the community. So definitely, if you haven't seen it and you're an Iris BI user, please check that out. We're going to switch gears now and talk a little bit about InterSystems Reports. So this is a capability that became available with InterSystems Iris about 2 years ago. So it's been a little while now. But it comes as an add-on module to InterSystems Iris and Iris for Health. It's actually already embedded in TrackCare. So if you're a TrackCare user, it's there. And I think the big thing that it does for us is it gives us the ability, like I said, the scheduler part of it, which allows you to schedule, as well as a whole variety of formats and things that you can do to it in terms of XLS, PDF, HTML, and some pretty nice looking reports that you can use to distribute. So that's for people who have a need for getting reports on kind of a regular basis. So that's the application we have there. It's built so that it has kind of two components. One is the report designer, and typically an organization would probably have a small number of people who use designer to develop reports, to kind of design them. You can flip back and forth in the designer between view and design. And when you flip to view, it actually goes and gets the real data from Iris. So you get a real view of what the end users would be seeing. Once you've created what you want, you publish that to the server, and then that becomes accessible for everybody else. So this is something that could be embedded into applications, or something that you could give web access to that server if you want to as well. And actually the server, and so from the server, people can still do some customization. So you can do additional filtering, you can add fields. It's controlled. What you see in the server reports is controlled by what's built in the designer. But you do have some ability to change things from that server. So that's, and I'm going to just go quickly through, just flash by a few of the samples that come there's a tutorial that ships with InterSystems Reports for designing reports. It gives you a bunch of these samples so that you can kind of see what the art of the possible is, I guess, with these reports. So I'm just going to go through those relatively quickly here. And so I guess you can see there's all kinds of sort of billing. There's reports that have lots of different subcomponents in them where you can embed a chart and that kind of thing with it as well. And Asaf, I think you're going to... Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no, so the question is, how do you access reporting? Are you talking about for the end user or for the developer? Yeah. So you would, so it is part of the Iris Advanced server. And so if you have Iris, then you can add this on when you're buying Iris new. You can check it off as a component that you want to add. If you're existing Iris, then we just have to go back through the order process with it. It's if you have one of the elite, there's different licenses. In other words, so it's included with many licenses. Yeah. So if I know what license you have, I can tell you if it's included. But it is a separate install. Yeah. Okay.
But for many Iris customers, it's included.
Right.
And InterSystems is sponsoring. It's included in the license price, so you don't need to pay for them or additional. So we'll be happy to see. So in terms of so we have a lot of reporting tools out there, right? So why use this? So this is some of the integration that we did with Logue Analytics, which is the company that supply Logue Report, and this should be ready, I think, within a few weeks. Mm-hmm. But a new installation script on any OS that we support to help you get started quickly and do some of the plumbing for you. So this is the installation, and then Logue has a few options to save their system database, and what we did is, by default with the installation script that we created with them, is now going to be the option to save it in Iris. So basically it will create a new database, new namespace, and save, so the secure system you already have in place now can have the additional reporting needs, so you don't need to manage too many systems. So although it's a separate install, all the information, the important information that they're using, going to be part of Iris. And a few SSO type enhancements to allow us for your existing users to be able to access that if you choose to allow it. In the system management portal, you're going to see InterSystems Reports as a new option in the system administration configuration, and it will allow you to point to the IP of the Logue Report, so Logue Report server, and you will have a way to get there from your system management portal.
All right, and I think we only had, maybe one person in here who was using Zen, so I won't belabor this, but one of the reasons we brought the Logue, we partnered with Logue to bring InterSystems Reports out was to replace the need that we had with Zen. So I just want to emphasize that we are encouraging people to move off of Zen Reports, and please come talk to me if there are things that are preventing you from doing that. I've had a few different partners that I've been talking with about that, and we're interested in figuring out how we can help move people off of Zen Reports into InterSystems Reports. So we're going to take, I think, now a little time and just talk about what some sort of big areas that we're looking at for InterSystems Iris BI, and then we can open it up. We'll have a few minutes left for questions if you have them. So right. Asaf, you want to take 1 and 3, and I'll take 2 and 4? Okay.
Good idea.
Yeah.
So again, engine performance is high on the list. So keep improving the performance. Keep taking advantage of new things that will come out in Iris, and so that's a major priority. And I'm gonna continue to 3, and then
jump into 3.
So Cube Manager is about managing your schedule for building and synchronizing cubes. And we plan on adding a few kind of UI changes that when you look at a cube, you can see right there without the need to go somewhere else. How big is the cube, any errors, kind of to know the health of that cube. So I have more statistics for you guys to be able to manage it better. And also, this is more internal in terms of the prioritization to help you achieve that goal.
Yeah, and I think you saw the app that Asaf showed about third-party visualization tools. I think one of the things that we'd like to focus on in terms of a large area is easier, better ways for people to take advantage of the cubes that you have in the architect and analyzer and visualize those in third-party tools. So that's a kind of a fairly large area that we're interested in exploring as well. So that's I think of these, we're kind of looking at these and trying to sort out which ones to focus on first. And then you heard about columnar storage today. We've done some preliminary testing with one customer, but we think there's a few ways that we can leverage columnar storage in Iris BI as well. So that's another kind of general area that we want to spend some time on as well. So those are, like I said, 4 sort of large areas. I'd be interested in talking to you one-on-one if there's one of those that stands out to you, or if there's something that you think is missing there. Be interested in hearing more about that. So as promised, I think we have...
We're still in the green?
We're still in the green. So we have a few minutes left for questions, if you have them. Yeah? You wrote down some. Awesome. Okay.
We're going to have to limit you for 2 questions.
2 questions, 5 parts each?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew it.
Uh-oh.
You see, they reset the clock for you. Thank you.
On the preview mode, when you flip between designer and actual preview presentation, is there on the report? Is there any ability in the presentation view of it to put role-based context, for example? So I'm previewing not my designer's roles and access, but what a particular user who I'm designing for's roles or access might give him visualization to?
Yeah, there's not that I'm aware of, but you can certainly publish to server and do some of that testing there, but there's not anything that I'm aware of that would allow you to do that from designer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good question.
For Asaf then, the statistics on the cube
Manager.
statistics, cube manager statistics. Is there any statistics gathered under the covers for utilization of the cube?
Yes. So so there is some auditing happening out of the box or inside the box, and then we have different hooks for customers to add their own auditing. So they have the ability to. We have a customer that not only wanted to audit what people queried, but they wanted to audit what they saw. So they wanted to basically audit the results. So we have hooks to do that type of thing, and then you can save a lot. You can save a lot of information and analyze it after. But there is also kind of a quick way. There is something called Deep Sea Buttons, which is a utility. Now it's part of Iris BI. And it shows you per cube and per user how many queries did they run, and I think we have all the information to show you, per folder item, so per cube, per pivot table, per dashboard, what's the adoption, what's the utilization, and things like that.
All right, one more. Is Iris BI shard aware, or is that even meaningful?
There is some work in the what's next to shard cubes, which means to allow you to run your MDX queries on the master, and then for it to be spread around multiple machines, but it's not GA yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have here.
Mm-hmm.
Semantic layer is available across all the tools, or it's only for Iris BI?
So this semantic layer adaptive analytics is available with InterSystems Iris and Iris for health right now. Yeah. So it's a separate tool from Iris BI, but it's at the moment it's only available with Iris. But yeah, I think both HealthShare and TrackCare are evaluating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, did you have a question? Yeah.
What is the preferred?
1 second. Here.
Thank you. This may be a simple question. What is the preferred method to get to the data from third-party tools like Power BI? Is it JDBC, ODBC? What would you recommend? And could you just...
either one, depending on the tool. Either JDBC or ODBC. I think some of them would be more obvious than others. So if you're using Power BI, for example, you'd probably use ODBC. If you're using Tableau, maybe JDBC. But either one. There's not I don't think there's a preference. It's based on the tool, really. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. We're 1 hour away from beer.
Well, we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us at the very end of the day today, and and asking good questions. So thank you very much, and enjoy tomorrow, and safe flights.
Today.
And today and tonight. Yeah.